Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show, you guys. Are you having as good of a week as I'm having? It's hard to be down when you're sitting on top of the NFC North. As a Detroit Lions fan, it is a great time to be alive. Welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show. I, of course, am your hostess with the mostest, Hat and Beard, where my pronouns are savage and I identify as sexy. With me, as always, to my left is my stiff co-host, B-Rad and Pick'ems extraordinaire. Folks, we got a great show lined up for you today. We are going to be going through our 5 picks for the Week 6 games to watch. That's going to be 3 primetime games, the Detroit Lions, and a mystery game that I'm going to go ahead and call out for you guys to maybe take a little look at and see if we can get these scores right, pick the winners and losers of those games. Then we're going to be taking a look ahead at the Lions Week 6 matchup. Flexed out to the 4:30 game, Fox's game of the week, going down to Tampa to square off against the Buccaneers. Coming off of a bye week, can Baker Mayfield and company handle the red-hot Detroit Lions? We'll discuss that and more today on the Hat and Beard Show. But before we get into any of that, please do me a solid favor. Guys, we are on our way to 500 subscribers, and I thank you all very much for hanging out with me. If you could do me a rock solid favor, click like on the video if you enjoy the content so far. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be part of the Hat and Beard gang, and if you really enjoy the content and never miss out on any of this mediocre content that I provide, go ahead and ring that notification bell. That way you're always up to date with what's going on at the Hat and Beard Show. Now, folks, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the Week 6 Pick 5.
Give it to me
Starting it off, we're going to look at the first primetime game on the docket. Thursday night, we got the Denver Broncos going to Kansas City for an AFC West matchup. It's not going to be pretty. Denver is not a great team right now, and they don't have much future short of selling off pieces to get draft capital. That Russ Wilson trade has crippled that franchise for the foreseeable future. Kansas City is Kansas City. Kansas City is going to do what Kansas City does. The question really is, will T-Sizzle be in the building? Right now, the Vegas numbers, as the time of recording this, I got it at 12:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. Denver, Kansas City, over under of 43 points. Kansas City is 10.5-point favorites. I think it's pretty safe to say the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go ahead and roll on this one. However, this could be setting up for a trap game for the Denver Broncos. I'm not saying that they're the greatest team ever. However, they do have Russ Wilson, and they do have some superstar athletes at wide receiver. Can they pull it all together and pull off an upset in Kansas City on Thursday night? It is entirely possible. I wouldn't completely wipe that off the board. I just don't see it happening. I just can't see the Denver Broncos being able to match the firepower that the Kansas City Chiefs have. And I'm using that term very loosely because the Chiefs are not the Chiefs of the past. They need the stripes to bail them out. They need the media to run cover for them. However, in this situation, Kansas City is still the better team and the better coach team. Sean Payton is a good coach, but he's still getting his bearings back after taking the hiatus away from the New Orleans Saints. Go ahead and give me the Chiefs to win, and I'm probably going to take the Chiefs to cover as well. Let's move on to the Sunday afternoon Detroit Lions, 4:30, Fox's game of the week. We got flexed out to this because it is so good to be a Lions fan right now. The Vegas line has the over-under of this game at 43.5 points. The Lions are 3-point road favorites, you guys. We are 3-point road favorites after coming off that beatdown that we handed to NFC South divisional opponents of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Carolina Panthers. And I know the Buccaneers aren't necessarily the greatest team in the world, and I know that we beat up on a down team. However, the Bucs are coming off of a bye week. They are going to be a little bit more rested up. But does that play in to their ability to win? We will dive into the statistics of that later on in the video. However, I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions to win. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are paper tigers at best. Go ahead and give me the Lions, and obviously the Lions to cover. Do we win by 14 points as we've done the last 2 weeks? I don't know about that. I do see a 7 to 10 point win. Obviously, I'm confident that we're going to cover the 3, so go ahead. Give me the Lions plus the 3. The next game we're going to look at, here's our surprise pick of the week, you guys. We're going to head over to Vegas to watch the New England Patriots, the hapless New England Patriots, go and play the Vegas Raiders. Interesting storylines in this game. You got a couple of expats in Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels. I'm pretty sure Jacoby Myers plays for them as well. Playing their old team, the old ball coach Bill Belichick, who's not what he once was. The man's 71 years old. The game is slowly passing him by. Couple that with bad coaching staff around him and not the most athletic team he's ever fielded in his professional coaching career. The real question is, can the New England Patriots score a touchdown in this game? Vegas doesn't necessarily have the best defense on planet Earth. However, the storylines match up. We could have a potential sneaky shootout, a low-scoring shootout, but Vegas has it slotted at 41.5 points. So we're looking at a 20-24 game, 21-24, 24-27 on the high end. They're going to go ahead and give Vegas 3-point home favorites. I'm going to go ahead and take the points and take the Raiders to win the game over the hapless, just absolutely dismal New England Patriots. Our primetime Sunday night game, we're going to have the Giants playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, at the beginning of the season, the Giants had a little bit more hype around them. They have not been the team that everyone thought that they were going to be. They have taken a strong step back. Buffalo coming back from London after being served a slice of humble pie by the Jacksonville London Jaguars in London. And, you know, that was a game that I kind of seen coming. I didn't take the Jags to win. I thought the Bills could win. However, that's what happens when teams travel, and especially with Jacksonville. They stayed in London that whole week, so they were already acclimated. They had already had the time to travel and get used to it. Buffalo traveled out. Now they got to travel back. Could be a little bit more wear and tear on the Bills than you necessarily want. However, it is the Sunday night game. You get a few more hours, and you're playing the Giants. So Vegas got the game at a 44.5 point under, and the Bills are oh man, the Bills are 14-point favorites. Yeesh. Yeah, can't disagree with that. Give me the Bills and the points over Big Blue. It's just not their year. It is rough sleddings for Big Blue in the Meadowlands. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with the Monday night game. Dallas playing the LA Chargers. Over under a 50.5 points, with Dallas given a 2-point favorite in this game. What do I think happens with Dallas in primetime? 2 things. I think Dallas gets revenge in 2 ways. I think Dallas is going to come out and make themselves look like the team we thought they were going to be last Sunday night against the San Francisco 49ers. I think Dallas is going to come out and prove to us that the Texas Coast offense isn't nothing to necessarily mess around with. Couple that with the Chargers are not the best defensive team on planet Earth. They just traded away their J.C. Jackson back to the Pats. And Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator of the LA Chargers. I'm looking for Mike McCarthy to get his guys ramped up and ready to rock and roll in a revenge game narrative against their old offensive coordinator, as well as make a statement on the national scene that they are to be taken seriously in the second tier with the Detroit Lions for the top 5 teams in the NFC. So go ahead, give me the Cowboys, and I think they cover the 2 points. So go ahead and give me Dallas plus the 2. That's going to do it for our Week 6 pick'ems, you guys. If you got any problems, take it up with my stiff partner over here. Old B-Rad is our pick'ems extraordinaire, so you guys need to take up any qualms you have with him. It's not me at all. This isn't any type of advice to take, but if you do, good luck to you guys. The moment we've all been waiting for. Lads, lasses, cats and dogs, fishes and birds, we are here to discuss the Week 6 Lions matchup, traveling down to Tampa. Division leaders, the NFC North and the NFC South division leaders, going at it. 4:30. What a game that it's going to be. What a game to watch. Tampa, Coming off the bye week, they're 3-1. Their only loss coming at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 1-1A in the NFC. They got severely outmatched by the Eagles in that game. And if you look at the strength of schedule, Tampa Bay isn't necessarily that much of a powerhouse. They are +7 in the turnover game. However, they consistently get outgained offensively by their opponents. They have been lucky this season so far. However, statistically speaking, coming off of a bye week since 2015, home favorites only win 47% of the time. Home underdogs, that number's going to slide down to 42% of the time. And that's understandable. What happens in the bye week? What happens in the bye week when you come back and you got a home game? Well, you get accustomed. You get used to your old routine. You get used to off-season stuff. You maybe see some friends, have a couple of pork chops, have a couple of brewskis, go out on a fishing trip. You take it a little bit lax, a little bit less. It's harder to acclimate yourself back into the flow of things if you're not staying on top of it, if your coaching staff lets you slide it all, if your players, the captains, don't hold players accountable. Tampa Bay isn't the team that they were 2-3 years ago. That's the other thing. They're playing in a down division. We're playing in a down division, but the division opponent that we played, we absolutely embarrassed them. When Tampa Bay played against the Saints, arguably the second best team in the South, they were led up by Jameis Winston. They weren't at full power. What do I think of Tampa Bay? What do I really think of them? I think they're a paper tiger. I think they have won a couple of games because of turnover differentials. I think that if they meet a team like the Lions, as in when they met the Philadelphia Eagles, they will be outclassed. They will be outclassed in every aspect. When you look at it position by position, even at the wide receiver group, they do have a couple of still just stalwart wide receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. However, Amon-Ra St. Brown is an ascending star. Josh Reynolds is an unsung hero in the NFL. If J-Mo can get rolling, you work in Khalif Raymond. Look, guys, our offensive pass catchers, Sam Laporte is setting records. He's the number 1 tight end in the league as a rookie. Our running game, our running backs are better. If J-Mo or if Ja's ready to go, that just it adds another weapon for Jared Goff and Ben Johnson to come out and just roll on the Bucs with. What it really comes down to is our offensive line can control their defensive line. Offensively, we outmatch their defense in nearly every aspect. They might have a couple players with a slightly more athletic edge over their offensive counterparts. However, when you scheme out what Ben Johnson has been doing all season long, the command that Jared Goff has over the offense, statistically speaking, according to PFF, Jared Goff grades out as the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. He sports a 104.3 QBR through the season, 9 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions with 2 more rushing touchdowns. Jared Goff has accounted for 11 touchdowns through 5 weeks of the NFL with one of the most highly potent offenses in the NFL outside of, say, Miami. We are an offensive juggernaut. Ben Johnson is figuring out things. He is implementing plays that other teams are then copying. See San Francisco versus Dallas with the tight end flea flicker nonsense that we pulled earlier on in the game that then they completely ripped off because Big PP Ben Johnson is an offensive genius. When you look at the defensive matchups, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line is absolutely atrocious. It has been banged up. Tristan Wirfs is good, but the rest of the line is just not solid. They have guys banged up on injuries. They had guys leave during free agency. They had guys retire. They have Baker Mayfield calling the shots. He's not Tom Brady. He's never going to be Tom Brady. He's never going to have the command of the offense like Tom Brady. He's never going to be able to maneuver offensive players around to manipulate defensive schemes because he's not that guy. I don't have anything against Baker Mayfield. I'm actually kind of a low-key closeted Baker Mayfield fan because I like fuck-ups. I just think that Baker Mayfield isn't the guy. They don't have a running game. Our defensive line is going to absolutely own the trenches against the Buccaneers, y'all. Just absolutely manhandle them in every single way, shape, and form because you see, we are a full unit as a team, and even if our starters are not on the field, as was evident against the Carolina Panthers, we came out and we took care of business because that's what good teams do. Good teams come out and they beat bad teams regardless of the player personnel groups, regardless of injuries. You come out, you put players in positions to succeed, you lean on your coaching staff, you lean on the coachability of the players, you put the trust in Brad Holmes to put a final product on the field. And what do you have? You have the Detroit Lions sitting at 4-1 through 5 weeks as an absolute powerhouse in the NFL, okay? We are one of the top teams in the NFL. The NFC is way up here. The AFC is down tremendously. There's 2, maybe 3 good teams in the AFC. There's 4 or 5 solid teams, 2 elite teams. The only undefeated teams left in the NFL are in the NFC. The NFC is the division to beat this year, and the Lions are right in the thick of it. Our defensive line is going to absolutely manhandle the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. Our defense is on a historic pace for a rushing defense in the NFL, dating back to I think the 1956 Lions through the span of defensive production against the run. Expect the Bucs to come out and try and assert themselves on the ground early and to be shut down just like every other team has been, outside of, say, Seattle had a little bit of production. Towards the end of the game, Carolina inched towards 100 yards, but we still bottled them up. And realistically, they weren't even using a pure running back. They were running gadget plays with Laviska Shenault. Hell of an athlete, but still not their lead running back. Miles Sanders is bottled up. We have done a good job of completely retooling our defense, both in the front seven and the back four, to really bolster what was once a weak spot and made it now our strong suit. Last year, we were getting torched in the run game. This year, we are, honest to God, owning the trenches. Just absolutely manhandling the line of scrimmage on defense. Our linebackers are able to run around with their hair on fire and make plays. We've figured out that Jerry Jacobs is a solid zone corner. Yep, if you leave Jerry Jacobs out in man coverage, we all know what's going to happen. He's going to get torched. He's going to get burned. He's going to get taken advantage of. But if you set him back in zone coverage with a high safety over the back end to really give him a little bit of confidence, you can bait corners, or you can bait wide receivers into his little trap there, which we've seen again that he pulled on a rookie quarterback with Bryce Young just this last game. Okay, he was able to do it against Jordan Love twice, and he was able to do it against Bryce Young one time. 3 interceptions over 2 games. Jerry Jacobs is ascending. Our defense has figured it out. Aaron Glenn knows what he's doing, and like I've been saying for what feels like forever, what feels like a year now, we have so many tools in our toolbox for Aaron Glenn to just take out and play with and just throw at and move and manipulate and maneuver things in. We also have a couple players coming back off of injury. Josh Paschal might actually be able to come off of IR. I doubt we'd even see him, but that would be a nice little boon to have. As well as the news on Brian Branch is still the fog of war. We don't know if he's going to be able to go or not. I'm not that concerned right now because I really liked what I seen out of Will Harris last week. Yeah, I know. Wild, hat and beard, supporting Will Harris. What's going on? Well, he played great. They figured out how to use their players in the right positions and places. You just absolutely got to love it. So I think what this game comes down to is the Lions can get healthier. If we can get healthier, if Branch can play, if Saint can play, if Ja can play, I mean, we're already coming into it favorites, all right? And you start adding those pieces in, it starts to get a little wild and out of control. Now, that being said, we could fall into a little bit of smelling our own farts, a little bit too high on our own supply, a little bit too much media love. Do I think Dan Campbell and company lets that happen? No, I don't think Dan Campbell and company lets that happen. I don't think Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and everybody else that helps run this machine from the inside of the locker room is going to allow us to get too cocky on our own supply. What I expect us to do is come out, win the trenches, have a better quarterback, have a better running back, have a solid defense that holds the Tampa Bay Buccaneers under 20 points, okay? Do we score more than 20? Yeah, we score more than 20. We're going to go ahead and put up, I got the Lions winning 34-17 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 4:30 game flexed out because it's so good to be a Lions fan this year, you guys. So that's what I think happens. We got the better quarterback, better running back. We are a full letter grade better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in nearly every single aspect of this game. I said it before, and I'll say it again. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a paper tiger, and when a paper tiger meets the Detroit Lions, we know what's going to happen. You can be the hunter, but as Dan Campbell said, we're going to be on your front porch waiting for you. You guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me this week. Try and have yourselves a glorious rest of the week. Enjoy the weekend. Try to ignore the horrors of the world, watch some football, disconnect from a little bit, go outside and touch a little bit of grass. I know it's fall, there's not a lot of grass left to be touched, but use sport as a way to remove yourself from whatever it is you're dealing with. Take this time, enjoy it, watch the Lions, bask in the glory that is Motor City Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, everybody involved with the Lions. Take pride in the fact that we actually have a winning program down in Detroit and that we're set up for long-term success. All right, this is a good time to be a Lions fan despite how awful the world is right now. Everybody just pray for all the people in Israel. Anyway, I've been Hat and Beard. You guys, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay out of trouble. Keep your stick on the ice. If she doesn't find you handsome, at least she'll find you handy. And frig off. Yo, what is this? I mean, nobody told me I look like an extra in The Walking Dead.